Sunday, October 26th. Sunday, October 26th. And our title is The Canaanites Iniquity. The Canaanites Iniquity. And we are going to read from Genesis chapter 15 verses 16, Leviticus chapter 18 verses 24 to 30, and Deuteronomy chapter 18 verses 9 to 14, and Ezra chapter 9 verses 11. As we read, my listeners, let us ask ourselves, what are these texts telling us about God's larger plan in offering the land of Canaan to the Israelites? What are these texts telling us about God's larger plan in offering the land of Canaan to the Israelites? And so let us begin with Genesis chapter 15 and verses 16, which says, "But in the fourth generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete." And let us also check out from Leviticus chapter 18 verse 24 to 30. And it says, "Do not defile yourselves with any of these things, for by all this the nations are defiled, which I am casting out before you." Verses 25, "For the land is defiled, therefore I visit the punishment of its iniquity upon it, and the land vomits out its inhabitants. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, either any of your nations or any stranger who dwells among you. For all these abominations the men of the land have done who were before you, and thus the land is defiled." Number 28, "Lest the land vomit you out also when you defile it, as it vomited out the nations that were before you. For whoever commits any of these abominations, the persons who commit them shall be cut off from among their people." 30, "Therefore you shall keep my ordinance, so that you do not commit any of these abominable customs which were committed before you, and that you do not defile yourselves by them. I am the Lord your God." Let us also read Deuteronomy chapter 18 verses 9 to 14. Deuteronomy chapter 18 verses 9 to 14, which says, "When you come into the land which the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn to follow the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or anyone who practices witchcraft, or a soothsayer, or one who interprets omens, or sorcerer, or one who conjures spells, or a medium, or a spiritist, or one who calls up the dead. For all who do these things are abomination to the Lord, and because of these abominations, the Lord your God drives them out from before you. You shall be blameless before the Lord your God. For these nations which you will dispossess listened to soothsayers, the Lord your God has not appointed such for you." That was Deuteronomy chapter 18 verses 9 to 14. And let us also check out Ezra chapter 9 and verses 11. Ezra chapter 9 verses 11 says, "Which you commanded by your servants, the prophets, saying, the land which you are entering to possess is an unclean land, with the uncleanliness of the peoples of the lands, with the abominations which have filled it from one end to another with their impurity." That was Ezra chapter 9 verses 11. And the question we need to be answering is, what are these texts telling us about God's larger plan in offering the land of Canaan to the Israelites? So the explanation for Sunday is, we need to look beyond the book of Joshua to completely understand what was meant by the iniquity of the nations inhabiting Canaan. These nations' abhorrent practices of child sacrifice, divination, sorcery, witchcraft, necromancy, and spiritualism give us a hint. That is according to Deuteronomy chapter 18 verses 9 to 12. The discovery of the ancient Ugaritic text from Ras Shamra provides more insight into the Canaanite religion and society, and they demonstrate that condemnation of this culture was not only understandable, but according to Old Testament moral standards, also justified. The Canaanite religion was based on the belief that natural phenomena which assured fertility were controlled by the sexual relationships between gods and goddesses. Thus, they envisioned the sexual activity of their deities in terms of their own sexual behavior and engaged in the sexual practices in order to incite the gods and goddesses to do likewise. This concept resulted in the institution of sacred prostitution involving both male and female prostitutes engaging in orgiastic rites, again all as part of their own religious practices. A nation cannot rise to a moral ground that is higher than that of their gods its people worship. As a result, as such, an understanding of their deities, it is no wonder the Canaanites' religious practices included child sacrifice, which the Bible warned specifically against. Archaeological evidence confirms that the inhabitants of Canaan regularly sacrificed their firstborn children to the gods, really demons, whom they worshipped. Little skeletons found crushed into large jars with votive inscriptions testify to their degrading religion and what it meant for many of their children. The eradication of the Canaanites then was not an afterthought, something that emerged in the wake of God's decision to give the land of Canaan to the Israelites. The inhabitants of Canaan were granted a time of probation, a time of additional mercy during which they had the opportunity to discover God and His character through the witness of the patriarchs living among them. They had the chance, but obviously they squandered it and continued in their horrific practices until the Lord finally had to put them to stop. So they had the chance, but obviously they squandered it and continued in their horrific practices until the Lord finally had to put a stop to them.